I know I should like Hellboy, but I just don't because I like good movies, and this movie
fucking sucks.
Hey there guys, Tom here, welcome back to my movie channel, and thank you very much for joining me for this, my review of the brand new Hellboy movie, starring David Harbour. But before we get into today's review, if you guys have not subscribed to this channel yet, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. And if you've seen Hellboy, or if you're looking forward to Hellboy, whatever your thoughts are on this film, jump down in the comments section below, and let's carry on this discussion. Alright, this review is going to be a bit more of a rant. So this is the rebooted Hellboy starring David Harbour, in which Hellboy has to hunt down a bunch of different creatures and monsters and beings, including some Blood Queen played by Mila Jovovich. And this movie has like a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it fucking deserves it. Hellboy has to be the most incompetent, worst movie I've seen in 2019 so far. The only good thing I can find in Hellboy, actually there are two good things I can find in Hellboy. One, David Harbour as Hellboy. Two, Ian McShane. That's it. There are some jokes in Hellboy and some humor to it, and I appreciate that they tried to bring some humor to it. Some of the jokes kind of worked and gave me a bit of a chuckle. Most of them fell flat on their face, and it's so predictable. This movie is so predictable, it's not even funny. Now look, this movie has some cool little tiny moments sprinkled throughout this massive dump of exposition. No joke. This has to be one of the most exposition heavy movies I've seen in a very long time. Literally every main character they introduce in Hellboy comes on screen and basically just tells their backstory to one of the other characters. It's ridiculous. There's so much exposition, so much backstory, so many fucking goddamn flashbacks. Half of them weren't even needed. I don't understand why we needed to know everything about every single goddamn character that has no relevance to the story at large at all. I get it, we needed to see Hellboy's backstory and where he came from and how they discovered him. Okay, I'm cool with that. But once you start like 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level characters and having to explain where they came from, which again has no relevance on the story overall, why? I don't know. But it was incredibly frustrating because every time you had a little tiny cool moment that gave me a glimmer of hope that, hey, this movie might actually be turning around. Oh, we just have another exposition dump. Oh look, here's a little cool moment. This movie might actually turn into something good. Nope, some character's gonna walk in and talk about where they came from, and there's gonna be a flashback for 2.5 minutes. And I tell you what else I'm getting sick of in movies recently, especially in 2018 and especially in 2019. Every movie in the last year or so that started with some form of narration has turned out to be a bad movie. Hellboy starts with a narration and it's like, oh, okay, fine. And then it just devolves into nonsense. And narration at the beginning of movies is really starting to bug me because lately, all the movies that have started with narration have all fucking sucked. And Hellboy is no exception. Now let's talk about Mila Jovovich as this Blood Queen, evil witch. I'm really getting sick of evil witches in movies because it's always the same goddamn character, just with a different actress attached to it. Suicide Squad, you had the dancing Cara Delevingne. Kid Who Would Be King, you had Rebecca Ferguson playing some evil witch. They all talk with this really raspy voice, and they all have to come out of a fucking tree. Stop with these witches in these movies. At least make them different, but they're all the same character that come back to life after a millennia and talk with a raspy voice and go and try to kill people. At least try to make it different in some form or another, but nothing in this film is different to anything we've seen before in any movie ever. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. Now, here's something some people might actually appreciate about Hellboy, but I don't understand it, okay? Listen, I'm cool with violence and gore and blood and guts. I'm absolutely fine with it as long as it has narrative purpose and makes sense, and if the movie's able to justify why it's doing that. But in Hellboy, there's so much unnecessary gore and violence, and I get the movies are rated, and I get, the comic books were, very heavy with the violence or whatever, and they're trying to stay as true to the comic book as they can, but The movie doesn't justify why it's so gory. Like, there's no reason this movie needed to be as gory, as bloody, and as violent as it was. It just was, and it just felt over the top and very unnecessary. It was like, oh, let's just do it just because we can. And by the way, if you're gonna do unnecessary blood and guts and gore, at least make the CGI good, but the CGI wasn't even good. And on top of all this, the worst part about Hellboy was that none of the characters were compelling. I didn't care about a single character except for maybe Hellboy. Maybe Hellboy, and that's a maybe. I can't believe how bad this movie is. I really can't be. And I shouldn't be surprised because it had a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes when I went to see it. I don't know what I was expecting. Anyway, guys, look, I don't normally rant and get this mad about movies, but I'm just getting so sick lately of movies like this coming out in the age that we're in, where movies should be held to a higher standard than this. There's no excuse that a movie like Hellboy should feel like it was a movie made in 2001. I could have ranted really hard about Crimes of Grindelwald. I could have ranted really hard about Robin Hood, and I've tried to stay as composed and as cool as I can doing these videos, but I'm sick of watching movies like this that do stupid, dumb shit for no apparent reason. Like, there is no reason Hellboy should be as bad as it is. This movie is just so very incompetent. I can't believe it. If you like Hellboy, that's great. I'm glad you love it. I'm just having a bit of fun here today because I had to find an excuse to stick around and finish watching the film. I didn't like Hellboy at all, but if you got some enjoyment out of it, I'm very happy for you. Let me know what you thought about Hellboy in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button, ring that notifications bell so that you never miss out on my take on all things movies. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about Hellboy. Once again, thank you very much for watching. My name is Tom, and I will see you guys next time.